Oh, yeah, PhD. Yeah.
Madam Clerk, you want to do the roll?
Supervisor Redefill.
Here.
Supervisor Chavez.
Here.
Supervisor Magzik. Here. Supervisor Pacheco.
Here.
Chairman Mendez.
Yes, I'm here.
All present. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to the November 4th meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Will we begin with the invocation and flag salute? The invocation will be led by District 4. After the invocation, remain standing for the flag salute. Who's coming today? Reverend Doug Spencer is a senior pastor at Assembly of God Church in Riverdale, and he's been the senior pastor since 2022. He's also serves as a principal of Riverdale Christian Academy and is the founding director of the famous Living Nativity in Riverdale. He and his wife Terry reside in Riverdale, where they've raised 8 children and enjoy spending time with their 17 grandchildren.
Thank you for the invitation. Let's bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning not because we are worthy, because you are worthy. You're worthy of all honor and all praise. We come to you because you are willing to hear our petitions and because you are able to answer every prayer and supply every need. Thank you for this beautiful area we call Fresno County. Thank you for these men seated here as supervisors and for all the people that make up Fresno County. We ask for your continued blessing on this county. Bless it with water and sunshine, and let it continue to bring forth abundantly. We ask you for wisdom for our supervisors as they continue to lead. You said if we ask for wisdom, you would give it. And we ask that you would continue to prosper the people of Fresno County and let them have generous hearts. For your word says, as you have done it unto the least of these, you have done it unto me. Bless this day, bless these men, bless Fresno County, bless California, and bless the United States of America. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agendas are on the back table for anyone wanting to follow along.
Item number 1, approve agenda.
I'll move for approval.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now move to item number 2, approve consent agenda item numbers 19 through 45.
Okay, is there anybody on the board that needs to pull anything off?
I need to pull item 38 for the Levine Act.
Okay. Anyone else? Is there anyone in the public that wants to pull any consent agenda items off? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion.
I'll move for approval of the remainder.
Okay. Same thing, Bernice.
Yes.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
Item 38 will follow item 5. We now move to item number 3, under Board of Supervisors, presentation of retirement plaque to Michael Wynn, Sheriff's Department, 21 years of service.
Okay, we have Assistant Sheriff Adam Esme will make a few comments.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Here we have Deputy Mike Wynn. He began his law enforcement career in 1992 at the young and green age of 23. He was first hired with the Kings County Sheriff's Office, initially serving as a reserve deputy before earning a full-time position. Over the next 12 years, he distinguished himself through a wide range of specialized assignments, including patrol, SWAT, canine, and field training officer. His strong work ethic, attention to detail, and natural ability to mentor others quickly earned him the trust and respect of both peers and his supervisors. His years at Kings County Sheriff's Office reflected his commitment to professionalism, teamwork, and community safety. In 2004, he came to his senses and joined the Fresno County Sheriff's Office, where he dedicated the next 21 years of service. During his tenure, he contributed his expertise to multiple units, including courts, patrol, MAGIC, or AG Task Force, where he worked several years with Isaac Torres, who's in attendance today, field training, mobile field force, and the training unit. His leadership, experience, and dedication made him an invaluable member for every team he served. He was respected by his colleagues for his reliability, humility, and leadership. And he's always been known as someone who uplifts others around him. And while his distinguished career will long be remembered, so too will his unique and memorable mustache. It is not quite as as it used to be, anyways.
Shorter.
It is shorter. So it's a trademark nearly as enduring as his service. So congratulations and cheers, Mike, and we wish you a long and healthy retirement.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for having me. Distinguished guest, Sheriff. It's great to see everybody here. Put a lot of years in this job, and it's been very honorable. Being a deputy for the Fresno County Sheriff's Department and serving the community and the citizens of Fresno County has been honorable. I wouldn't change a thing for the world. So, yes, I've done a lot in my career, and I loved it. So with that, I'll leave it short. You have a lot to do, and I appreciate all your hard work you do for the Sheriff's Department. Thank you very much.
Okay, is there any comments from the board?
Yeah, I would just like to congratulate you. We appreciate you and your service, over 2 decades of service to the Sheriff's Department. We just dedicated a memorial and know the sacrifice that all of you make, and we're grateful. You don't hear it enough, but we all are grateful, and our residents are very grateful. So we wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. And in the fact that you work with Isaac Torres, I bet you have a lot of Isaac stories.
Where do I want to start? Oh, there aren't any earmuffs thick enough.
With that, why don't you come up and
No, go ahead.
Item number 4, under Supervisor Bredefield, proclaim November 11, 2025 as Veterans Day in the County of Fresno.
Yes, Board, I'm proud to sponsor this proclamation honoring the brave men and women who have served and sacrificed so much to protect our freedoms. We want to acknowledge their courage, their dedication, their unwavering commitment to our nation, and I extend my gratitude for their service. With that, we have Director Sonia Begay and the Veteran Service Representative Eric Cornelis to accept this proclamation and say a few words.
All right. Well, good morning, Chairman and members of the board, and thank you, Supervisor Bredefield, for sponsoring this proclamation. I do want to also acknowledge we have 50,000 veterans across Fresno County, and our Veteran Service Office spends every day connecting those veterans to the services that they deserve after they've served our country. Our Veteran Service Office is probably one of the smallest units in our department, but they have a significant impact. On an annual basis, they connect about 30,000 veterans to various services, and we've done a lot during this past couple of years to improve access to services, and I appreciate that this is the office that was acknowledged during State of the County for the impact and services they do. So I do want to introduce Eric, who is one of our Veteran Services reps, who actually does this work on a daily basis, and he's going to share very briefly with you a couple of things that our office has done to serve our veterans. So thank you.
Thank you, Sonia, for the introduction. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. On behalf of our Veterans Service Officer Kyle Pennington and our Veterans Service Office team, thank you for recognizing the work being done to serve the veterans of Fresno County. As Sonia shared, our focus remains on making it easier for veterans to access the benefits and services they've earned. We continue to see thousands of veterans each year, including many in rural parts of the county, and our staff remain dedicated to meeting each one where they are. While appointments are the standard, we also maintain Walk-in Wednesdays as an initiative to ensure that every veteran who needs immediate help can receive it even without an appointment. It's one more way we keep our doors open to everyone who has served. This year, we're proud to highlight a few new and innovative services that build on that same commitment. Our strategic hiring event, held 3 times a year, connects veterans directly with employers throughout the Fresno County and across the Central Valley. These events have helped 54 veterans successfully transition into the civilian workforce, strengthening families and reducing unemployment among veterans. We also launched an Access to Technology program for elderly veterans. This effort helps older veterans stay connected to in today's digital world through devices, hands-on training, and support that keeps them in touch with their healthcare providers, their benefits, and their loved ones. Last, our Together for Veterans Coalition brings information and services directly to where elderly veterans live and receive care. By visiting local care facilities and meeting veterans in their residences, we ensure that no one is left out or overlooked. These initiatives reflect the heart of our mission, providing access, building trust, and improving on the quality of life for those who have served our country. With the support of this board, our community partners, and dedicated staff, we'll continue to work to make sure every veteran in Fresno County feels supported and valued. Thank you.
I just have a question for you. How many veterans do you serve at the Veteran Service Office?
Approximately, sir, within the last fiscal year, we served about 32,000.
Oh, that's amazing.
Different services. Not everything is a claim, but just resources, information at our front desk. A lot of state and county benefits they're receiving access to through our office.
Yeah. And a lot of veterans do. I know that from experience working at the VA for 27 years. A lot of veterans don't even know the benefits that they have or that they're entitled to. So
Absolutely.
I encourage all veterans to find out what benefits they have, contact the Veteran Service Organization, and they will get a lot of assistance from you.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? You want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this proclamation.
Second.
We got a second. All in favor is going to say an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Of course, hearing none.
We now move to item number 5 under Supervisor Chavez, proclaim November 2025 as Sikh Heritage Month in County of Fresno.
Thank you, Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very honored and excited to be spearheading this effort today here on issuing a proclamation for our Sikh community. And for me, it's a kind of a coming home for many years. I had the honor of representing the second largest Sikh Punjabi community here in Fresno, over by the Sunnyside area. And now in my new role, I get to work with them and issue that. And I just want to say a few words about our Sikh community. Every time that we've done anything in our neighborhoods, whether it was a cleanup or feeding the homeless or working with the less fortunate, our Sikh community has always been there at the forefront. And this is a way of us thanking you and appreciating the work that you do. Your community has always embodied to me, and I've always had that special connection of compassion, of hard work, ethic, loyalty, and those are some of the things that I've always been really honored to have been a part of for our Sikh community. I remember the first time I got invited to have dinner at a Sikh household. I said, looks very similar. As Mexicans, we have birria, you have curry, we have tortillas, you have naan, but that's the connection, that's the heritage that we have. And so today we really want to honor that in our community, celebrate the diversity. And oftentimes folks think that our Sikh community here came after the 1984 genocide, which some of them did, but it was long before that. Over 100 years is their history here in our community, from being farmers to working in law enforcement, in our healthcare industry, business entrepreneurs. So today we really do want to honor and want to invite Gurminder up to say a few words and accept the proclamation on behalf of the community.
Thank you. I just want to start by saying that what was a great honor to be here. We just celebrated veterans. We just celebrated the service of our sheriff to the county and the community. And we as a Sikh community stand with all of you as well. So again, I want to start by thanking Supervisor Luis Chavez for bringing this proclamation and the rest of the supervisors for supporting it. We really appreciate your support. And also, we want to make sure that that we also stand beside you in any time. Whenever you need us, please call on us. So I have folks from different organizations that came with us and kind of stand in unity to support anything we do in our county. So I have a small message that I will kind of read, and then I will invite all of our community members to stand behind me, and then we can come and accept the proclamation, right? Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Good morning. My name is Gurminder Sangha, and on behalf of the Sikh community of Fresno County, I want to thank Supervisor Luis Chavez for sponsoring this proclamation and the entire board of supervisors for recognizing November as the Sikh Heritage Month. This recognition honors more than a century of Sikh contributions to the Central Valley and reaffirms our shared values of service, equality, and community. Thank you for celebrating Fresno County's diversity and for standing with the Sikh community in friendship and respect. With that, I just wanted to say again, on behalf of all of us, we are grateful, we are part of the community, and we really appreciate the work you do, our first responders, and every one of us do for our community, and we stand with you in any time, good, bad, or indifferent. So please call on us. We'll be just one call away to supporting anything our community needs. So with that, I will end and thank you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I would like to invite all of the community members to come and let's receive the proclamation together.
Okay. Any other comments?
I'll make the motion to accept the proclamation.
I'm going to second. Let me
Okay,
second.
yes.
But
I have a comment.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was at an event that the Sikh community hosted a couple of days ago, and one thing which I absolutely love is you're all leaders, but you lead with humility. And there are a lot of leaders who lead with pomp and circumstance, but when you lead with humility, you're even stronger. So we need a lot more leaders like you, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No, I just want to say, I represent, Selma and the people that go to the temple in Selma. Crothers has a temple that has a lot of followers, and I have a lot of Sikh friends, and I spend a lot of time with them when it's not political. I just want to comment. I'm very glad you guys all came on time. That's kind of a side Sikh joke that a lot of times the younger generation will tell the older generation the wrong time, so they all show up when they're supposed to, and they're not late. But the most hard-working people I've ever been around. People and very gracious and the women are so elegant and so well-spoken. And, it's been an honor, to serve them, represent them, and be friends with them. So with that, go ahead and have your whole group come.
Yes. As they're coming up, I want to. Oh,
Yeah, I'll make the motion, and then you were going to second, Chair.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none.
and as they're coming up, I want to read the names of the organization that are here. So I would expect Raj Penji and Nanki to come in the center, and you are all coming in. Then I'll read the names of the organization that are here. So let me start with, we can start going in. American Sikh Sangat, GHG Bhangra Academy, Hidden Wealth Foundation, Jakarta Movement, Khalsa Community Center, Punjabi American Growers Group, Punjabi Cultural Association, Sikh Association of Fresno, Sikh Council of Central California, Sikh Historical Society Fresno, Sikh Women's Organization of Central California, Virsa Foundation, and Indian Business Development Foundations. We are grateful for all these organizations to serve our community alongside all of you. Thank you.
Now we take up the consent items that were pulled from this morning by Supervisor Magzik due to the Levine Act. Item 38, under Public Health, approve and authorize chairman to execute retroactive agreement with Calviva Health effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027 to meet the Department of Health Care Services requirements necessary to participate in the Intergovernmental Transfer Program.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. I'm Joe Prado, Interim Director for Fresno County Department of Public Health, here to answer any questions on item 38.
Is there any questions? Hearing none. Somebody,
I'll make a motion.
Second?
second by Gary. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Took you longer to walk up, didn't it?
Thank you.
That concludes all consent items were pulled from this morning. We now return to our regular agenda. Item number 6, under Supervisor Bretteville, Supervisor Magzik, and Public Works and Planning. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I have a revision. After the attachments related to this item were made available to the public, county staff noted that minor corrections needed to be made on Attachment A, and Exhibit A needed to be formatted as Master Schedule Fees Sheet 1500 as indicated on the errata form that I'm handing out now for the board and the public.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Samantha Buck, Deputy CAO of County Administrative Office. The item before your board is a first hearing to amend the master schedule of fees under Public Works to allow for free vehicle entrance to county parks and then also reduce camping fees for veterans and active military service members. The second hearing is set for November the 18th, and if adopted by your board, will be effective 30 days thereafter or December 18th. The camping fees are recommended for a reduction from $11 to $6 per 24 hours per site. This concludes staff's presentation. We're available should you have any questions.
Okay.
Yes, I just want to say I'm working with Supervisor Magzik on this. I think this board clearly recognizes the sacrifice and service of our veterans. We just did on a proclamation. there is no freedom that we have in this nation that isn't earned by the sacrifice and blood of veterans who've come before us throughout this nation. And we want to honor them, not only on Veterans Day, but we want to honor them every day. And this is a small way, I think, that we can do this by basically saying you can come and enjoy our county parks at no cost. We also want to make a change, and the county council can say if we need to do anything different. We want to reduce the camping fee from $11 to no charge at all for veterans or active duty personnel. And I think this is a great way, a small way of acknowledging our veterans in Fresno County and how much we respect and admire their service, as well as their families, and want them to come and enjoy our park. So with that, I'll make a motion and pass it to Supervisor Magzik.
Yeah, with Gary, you said it well. You being the veteran here on this board, we appreciate your service as well. And my father served in the Air Force, and have members of my family who also have served. So I think it's important for us as a nation. Not only do we need to have ceremonies and remember, but we have to constantly remind our young people and constantly do things to celebrate what this country stands for. And we would not be a country without those who have served in every conflict that's ever taken place. And so I greatly appreciate the veterans, their sacrifice. And I don't know the exact statistic, but I know that here in Fresno County, roughly 5% of our population is a veteran. But I think in other areas, roughly 1% will serve. So it's very low numbers, but the impact that they've had on allowing the freedoms and liberties that we have are significant. So this is a small way that we can just say thank you to veterans in our community. And I'll second that.
Okay. Accept both motions. I just totally in favor of this. What happened where we had to have this fix on the agenda? You know, I was so much for it, I didn't really, when I did agenda review, didn't really realize that we didn't have the charges actually on there.
As far as the reduction in the camping fees,
Yeah,
it's more of a review process and clerical cleanup.
yeah, okay.
I gotta
Needed
just
to ask that because I should have caught that in the agenda review that we have that on there.
Just a quick question, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Supervisor Butterfield and Magza, for bringing this forward. Sometimes when somebody goes to our parks quite a bit, when you get there, there's the folks at the booth that you can pay, but sometimes they have just the envelope on there. Is there going to be like a checkbox for our veterans so that they don't have to get a ticket if there's our folks going on there? Just the logistics question on there. Don't have to answer that, but let's just figure that out for our folks when they get there, and they can just have some sort of a mark or something that they could
Sure.
do on there, so they don't get a ticket and then have to fix
I
it.
would leave that to our CAO to figure out what we need to do on that.
Okay. All right, I got a motion and a second. Is there any public comment? Hearing none. All in favor, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now move to item number 7 under Administrative Office. Approve and authorize the County Administrative Officer to submit a letter of interest to the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care to serve as the management entity on behalf of the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Continuum of Program. Adopt resolution authorizing the County of Fresno through the County Administrative Office to serve as the management entity on behalf of the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care for the HUD CO-C program, and approve and authorize County Administrative Officer or designee to execute grant-related documents necessary to perform the duties of the management entity on behalf of the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care for the HUD CO-C program.
Good morning, Board. Dylan McCulley, Homelessness Program Manager with the County Administrative Office. The item before you today is a recommendation to authorize the county through the County Administrative Office to serve as the Coordinated Entry System Management Entity for the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care, or FMCOC. We have a brief presentation to provide an overview of the management entity functions, as well as highlight the benefits and potential risks of the county assuming this role. Staff will be available to answer any questions at the conclusion of the presentation. Okay. That is going to be a little challenging.
Everybody thought we were in the dark, but
There we go.
No, I asked him to. I asked him to shut it.
So, first off, some background on the county's existing partnership with the FMCOC and the current recommendation for the management entity role. The county has served as the administrative entity managing state homelessness dollars for the FMCOC since 2018. In April of this year, your board authorized the county to serve as the collaborative applicant on behalf of the COC, overseeing the annual NOFO process for federal homelessness funding allocated to the COC, which would begin December 1st. Additionally, in October, a non-conflicted FMCOC committee recommended that the county also take on the role of management entity. Although the county serves on the FMCOC board, it was not involved in the discussion, making the recommendation for the county to serve as the management entity. So what is the management entity? The management entity is a designated body authorized by the FMCOC to implement and carry out the day-to-day operations of the Coordinated Entry System, or CES. CES is a HUD-mandated local process that assesses the needs of individuals and families experiencing homelessness and prioritizes them for the appropriate housing intervention based on their vulnerability and acuity. The management entity provides administrative oversight of CES by implementing policies set by the CES committee and the COC, ensuring system-wide coordination, overseeing assessment, matching, and prioritization processes. The management entity is authorized by the COC to require all providers participating in CES to meet the expectations, standards, and responsibilities set for them by the COC through the CES committee. Currently, Poverello House, a local nonprofit agency, is contracted directly with HUD to provide management entity services. The COC's recommendation to transfer the management entity function to the county was made with the aim of better aligning with the county's existing roles in supporting the COC as the administrative entity and the upcoming role as the collaborative applicant. If approved by your board, staff will work with Poverello House through a transition period to determine the logistics of how the management entity function will be assumed by the county. I'll turn it over to Deputy CAO Amina Flores-Becker to go over further justification for why staff is making this recommendation to serve as the management entity and also discuss potential risks and benefits of assuming this role. Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Amina Flores-Becker, Deputy CAO. So why is staff recommending that the county take on the role of management entity? Really, this falls in line with our previous recommendation and your board's approval of the collaborative applicant function. The collaborative applicant and the management entity very often work together under the same agency. This is not unorthodox for COCs across the country. And this is done really to strengthen accountability and oversight. That's really the main reason to consolidate those two functions. It also aligns really across systems of care, the priorities, the service types. It creates administrative consistency, system-wide improvement, improves strategic planning and data integration, and then it also leverages, in our case, the county's existing homelessness response system as well as existing partnerships, including our current strong partnership with Poverello House. There are risks associated with this action, just like there were with collaborative applicant. Very similar risks include the administrative burden. This is a high workload and will require staffing and capacity to be able to efficiently manage this function. There is compliance and liability exposure, just as there was with collaborative applicant. We have HUD requirements that we're going to have to meet. With any service provider function, there's always liability exposure, especially in the homelessness world. There's financial risks, meaning cash flow through HUD, as well as the federal funding unknowns. I believe from staff's perspective in the county, we're better equipped to foresee some of those issues and respond quickly and bring items back to your board if we need to shift or change the way that we do business. And then finally, there's the risk of public accountability as the county, and as you all know, we're just held to a higher standard. So likely, may face some criticism or scrutiny if this doesn't go perfectly, which, as you all know, in the service world and homelessness world, nothing ever does. So staff's recommendation today is to authorize the CAO to submit a letter of interest to the FMCOC, which will essentially initiate the official process to have the county take on the management entity role. It's also to create the management entity function within the CAO's office, which is where the collaborative applicant function will take place. And then finally, to work with Poverello House to figure out a transition plan to transfer the function over to the county. I and Dylan are available should you have any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I'll wait till public has an opportunity.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, that ends the public comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just really appreciate Dylan and Amina working on this. We have many fantastic nonprofits that are serving the homeless population, and I know that they are committed to finding a way to not only consolidate, but to deliver the best possible services. And right now, we're in an environment where resources are diminishing, and so we have to be as efficient and effective and strategic as possible. So really appreciate this, and with that, I'll move for approval.
I want to
Yeah, go ahead.
comments. What facilitated this transition? If Poverello House is doing it now, are they happy that we're going to take it over? Would they like to continue doing it? Or what is the need to do this?
So it's really not up to them. It is up to the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care, and the recommendation came from the board of directors. Essentially, it was a subcommittee of the board of directors that had been assessing specifically coordinated entry, but also the management entity as a whole for several months, and came to the conclusion that because of the collaborative applicant function that had already been assumed, that it would be in the best interest of the FMCOC and the system for the county to assume this role. Poverello House was part of the conversation after the recommendation was made. I personally had many conversations with Zach, and am more than willing and able to work with him directly from Poverello House to ensure that the transition is smooth and that there's minimal impact to their operations.
And in doing this, how is it going to make things better?
Yeah, so the crux really is the administrative oversight and the accountability piece. So the way that the system currently exists, these are contracts directly through HUD, and HUD is really hands-off. So with your board's approval today, this would really give better oversight and also authority to the county to really hold the system accountable for producing results. We would have a voice at the table with outcomes rather than it being a direct dealing between HUD and a nonprofit agency.
And you think we're going to do that?
Yes, I know we're going to do it.
Okay.
Okay. How much more staff time is going to be involved with this change?
So it's the administrative oversight. My recommendation would be, and this will work with Poverello House on, would be for this to be a contracted out service, meaning if we went through which I would recommend, we go through a competitive procurement process, Poverello House could compete for that contract, and then we would treat them like we do many other of our contracted partners as a contracted entity to the county. So, regular outcomes meetings, regular monitoring, regular oversight. We're talking about part-time of an analyst's work once the contract is set.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to thank our team. We've been having a couple of meetings with all our stakeholders the last couple of months. I think you did a great job in hadn't been done before per all the partners that were there in documenting a framework for all of the beds that are available within Fresno County, city, county of Fresno, services, programs, resources. Our behavioral health folks were there, our mental health folks were there. We're starting to see a transition where people are not just doing work in silos. And I know, like you said, I think that was appropriate word, the risk. But I don't think we're going to have a choice going forward with the dwindling resources that the state is now cutting back, and then the issue and the challenges that we have locally, i.e. what happened at the press conference we had across the street. We know that there are service providers that come into our neck of the woods and we don't know what they're doing. And then what happens is they end up cutting off services, and then they leave us stuck with the work of having to fill homes for 200 plus people, right? So I think this puts us in the driver's seat and gives us the ability to have more accountability. I think everybody wants to help the homeless population, right? But the calls that we get and the calls that other folks get is they want to clean up encampments. The city just signed an MOU agreement with Caltrans on cleaning up their encampments and going in. But what's going to happen to those folks that decide to just move along? They're not going to disappear, right? They're going to go somewhere, and then they're going to call us for services. So I think it's a good model, and I nicknamed it the Amina Doctrine at the workshop we did. But I really want to thank you and your team for really taking the lead on this. Oftentimes people don't want to touch this because it's a hot potato, but I think that time has come and gone. So I'm fully supportive of what we're trying to do here for our homeless population, and that's address their root issues with a compassionate approach. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Any other comments? Call the question. All in favor, so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried. Thank you.
And I'm going to apologize. I did not hear who made that second. Supervisor Magson made the Redfield. Thank you.
I will try to be more clear.
No, that's okay. I was watching, but he did it so quickly. We now move to item number 8 under agriculture. Accept the annual Fresno County Crop and Livestock Report for 2024 at the Economic Contributions of Fresno County Agriculture Report from the Department of Agriculture.
All right. Green means on, right? Okay. Good morning, Chairman Mendez, members of the board, Melissa Cragen, Agricultural Commissioner and Sealer of Weights and Measures. This morning, I'm excited to present not one, but 2 reports on the value of agriculture in Fresno County. I will start with the 2024 Agricultural Crop and Livestock Report. This report summarizes acreage, production, and gross value of agricultural commodities produced in Fresno County. In 2024, the total gross production value increased by 5.7% over the 2023 total for a new record value of, I'm going to try and get this number right, $9,029,122,000. Hopefully they've brought down the poster back there. This was driven by, after coming in at number 2 for the last 2 years, almonds have rebounded to retake the number 1 spot with a total gross value of $1.45 billion. That means grapes moved down to the 2nd spot with a gross value of $1.042 billion, and pistachios remained 3rd with a gross value of $859 million. The remainder of the top 10 saw some shuffling of positions, with oranges displacing nectarines to reclaim their spot in the top 10. Fresno County's agricultural strength is based upon diversity of crops produced. In 2024 report, there are approximately 200 different commodities, 82 of which have a gross value in excess of $1 million. And Fresno County continues to supply the highest quality food and fiber nationwide and abroad, exporting 96 unique commodities to more than 91 countries around the world. Our top 5 export destinations were Mexico, the Republic of Korea, Canada, Taiwan, and Japan. And every year we highlight a segment of the agricultural industry. In this year's report, we feature the contributions made by our farm workers, and who without them, we would not be able to achieve the level of agricultural production that we have here in Fresno County that feeds the world. While the annual crop and livestock report estimates the gross value of just the agricultural commodities that are produced in Fresno County, the second report that we have highlights the total economic contributions to Fresno County agriculture, made by Fresno County Agriculture. We also made a summary sheet that presents the highlights from this report. I know the report's a bit wordy, so we made a nice 2-page document that kind of presents the highlights. This document is based upon the 2023 crop report data. And what it shows is that agriculture was the #1 industry in Fresno County, contributing a total of $21.664 billion to the county economy. In addition, agricultural production and processing also directly supported over 63,000 jobs, making agriculture the #3 direct employer in the county, behind only health and human and social services and government. At this time, I'd like to invite up Ryan Jacobson, CEO of the Fresno County Farm Bureau, and invite him to talk about the value of Fresno County agriculture.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Good morning, Chair Mendez, Board of Supervisors, and county staff. On behalf of the Fresno County Farm Bureau, I'm honored to be here today to talk about Fresno County's incredible agricultural productivity and a regained title as the #1 agricultural county in the nation. You've all heard me say this before, but it bears repeating. We are the food capital of the nation. Fresno County's 2024 Crop and Livestock Report once again captures in numbers the bounty and diversity of what we grow here. While it offers just a snapshot of what our local agricultural community produces, California's county crop reports provide a level of insight you're not going to find anywhere else in the country. This report gives us an opportunity to celebrate the local agriculture and to highlight the food, fiber, flora, jobs, and economic strength of our farms and ranches and what they bring to this region. Every farm, no matter how large or small, plays a vital role in supporting our community, our nation, and our world. As you know, California grows more than a third of the nation's vegetables and 3/4 of the fruits and nuts, and a significant portion of those are grown right here in Fresno County. According to the USDA's 2022 Census of Agriculture, California is now home to 9 of the nation's top 10 agricultural counties, which include Fresno as #1, Tulare, Monterey, Kern, Merced, Imperial, San Joaquin, Stanislaus, and Santa Barbara. Food grows where water flows, and 2024 was a good water year for Fresno County. That blessing allowed farmers to grow the rainbow of crops that we are very capable of doing here in Fresno. Now, while the public may see this record-breaking number as some sign of reflection of health of what's going on in the ag community, I know at least our 2 county supervisors that are farmers themselves know that's not necessarily reflective of the truth. We faced some very difficult times the last 4 years from a combination of issues, whether it's the less than average market prices, rising input costs, higher interest rates, and a long list of regulatory and logistical hurdles. But still, this does show an incredible number that Fresno County farmers were able to put together in 2024. I could talk about agriculture all day, but ultimately we know that this report boils down to the people who make it all happen. And so first and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to Melissa and her team for helping to bring this report together. And obviously, as you guys see on this year's report, it's the celebration of those farm employees that do such an amazing job of helping us bring in that bounty. You know, we look at the farmers, the ranchers, and it's the supply chain up and down and all these amazing folks that bring all this together that really is the story to this crop report. Something I'm very proud of, and I know definitely Supervisor Mendez and Pacheco are in the same boat here. I can actually now say that as part of this 2024 report, I have now the 5th generation, my kids, that are involved in this production as well. I got 3 of them, 1 that's really a helper at this point. The other 2 maybe not so much, but at least he gets things done on the farm there. But I'm really proud of the fact that my family and many other families around here are 5th, 6th, 7th generation in helping this county bring in the amazing bounty that we've done for over a century here. I also want to give a big heartfelt thanks to this Board of Supervisors as well as all the county staff that makes all this happen. It doesn't happen by accident. The region that we have here was really built upon now 150 years of multiple generations that have done such amazing work here. I know the Ag Commissioner's Office is definitely front and center when we talk ag, but you know, the ones I think of is, you know, you guys have public health that does an amazing role as far as partnering with what we do here in agriculture. Public Works and Planning, the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Office, the CA's Office, and so many more work day in, day out to make sure that we continue to remain competitive in this very challenging environment. And during a time in which arguably I think many of us would agree that there's forces outside of here that don't want to see us continuing to do agriculture. I also want to thank those many industry leaders that help us do what we do here. It's those that fight and try to keep us and remain competitive that are so important here. I know we have Manuel Cunha of Nicia Farmers League, but we have many other ag groups here as well that play a very important role into everything we do. And then as I end here, I just want to say a big thank you again to the men and women who are out in the fields, the packing houses, and just every other part of the supply chain, the truck drivers, the CPAs, the PCAs, everybody else that makes this all come together. We can't do this without them. You guys know that my job depends on ag, and truly that's what's reflected in this report we see here today. Thank you so much.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Oh, you got, no, that's fine, because I was going to ask you a bunch of questions.
I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of questions, but I would like to recognize my staff that put in countless hours to produce these reports. Angel Gibson, Amanda Zito, Christine, I'm going to butcher your name, Kokovich, Gene Hannon, and Edgar Soto. This report would not be possible without their hard work and dedication. And then I also really want to thank Gina Hill with ITSD for the beautiful graphic design of the crop and livestock report, as well as her helping us put together that one-page economic contribution summary sheet. This report is our yearly opportunity to recognize the growers, shippers, ranchers, and other businesses instrumental to supporting agriculture in Fresno County, and we would not be able to produce this report without their input and cooperation. All of these reports will be available to the public on our department website as soon as we can get them up. And at this point, I'll be happy to try and answer any of your questions.
Okay, anybody else have any? Go ahead.
So I think Tulare and Kern County have both released their numbers. It's my understanding Kern is just a click under $8 billion. Tulare County is, I think, around $8.3 billion, just going from memory. So my question is, how in the world was Fresno County able to increase nearly 6%?
Kern actually went a click under, I think, $7 billion.
Under 7? Okay, under $7 billion.
I think we had two sectors, I think, that really saw a lot of growth. Obviously, rebounding of almonds helped, so that increased our fruit and nut sector increased by, I think, almost 19% over last year, so that was good. And then livestock and poultry actually had a really good year, increasing by about 9%. And so you kind of put that together. I don't think the only sector I think that we saw loss in was nursery, which is not a huge sector for us anyways. And so just, the diversity of the crops that we grow here really does allow when one crop has kind of a bad year, we have other ones that have good years. And so this year we really did just see, quite a few increases on top of each other, so.
Okay, actually, I'll make this a little simpler. Just take almonds, okay? The price went from really shitty to just kind of shitty, okay? But
See,
it made a
Buddy
difference.
can put it in ways I can't.
Yeah. Anybody else? Brian, go ahead, Gary.
Well, first of all, as a city boy, this is eye-popping to me. I'm amazed when I look at these numbers, and a lot to be proud of in Fresno County. And we will continue to support everything you do, of course. Just a couple of questions, though. The thing that we get a lot of is requests for these solar farms and eating up some of the ag land. Where are you at? Do you see that as a problem approving the solar farms in terms of the agriculture that's been going on? Is that something you want to address? I mean,
You want to drag me into politics? Okay.
no, I'm actually just curious in terms of, does that adversely impact your ability to produce these kinds of numbers by approving us approving solar farms?
I mean, I think water availability adversely affects our ability to produce. And if we had all the water that we needed, I would be probably against adding solar farms. But we know that that's not the case, and it's not going to be the case. And so a lot of, and I think, Chairman Mendez and Supervisor Pacheco might be able to speak to this better, but I think a lot of our family farmers are actually able to stay in business because this is another source of revenue that they're able to bring in on their land that they don't have the water to farm. And so, I'm not against it. I don't know that I necessarily have a strong feeling one way or the other, but I do recognize that, in the landscape that we're in, this is part of being able to do business for our farmers, unfortunately.
But if you were able to get the more water, then obviously we would be able to have more agricultural land.
Yeah,
That's the
but
reality of what you're saying.
and the issue is it's year to year, right? And so, that stability and being able to plan long term is really important for our farming families. I can't imagine every year just the ups and downs that our farmers face.
Yeah.
And so, hoping that this will be a good water year is, and that's I don't know that a lot, that's a hard thing to kind of take that gamble on.
Yeah, I have tremendous respect for farmers and my colleagues here and what they do. I know how hard they work and all of you work. Just a final thing, we initiated an ordinance on copper wire theft. I know that's been an issue at farms. Have you noticed any improvement at all? Is that an ongoing issue? What's your take on that?
It's not an issue that we get any reports on. Obviously, those go to the sheriff's
Okay.
department, and so
Okay.
we're not involved in that.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, you have any?
Sure. I think you answered that question very well, Melissa. It's primarily dependent upon water. The solar farms are going in on those marginal grounds that don't have the water. It does provide another source of revenue. If we had all the water, we wouldn't be needing that. So I thought you answered that very, very well. I would just add, too, you made a great point of volatility. It is extremely volatile. This year, as a production dairyman, we've had one of our best years. The beef industry is phenomenal. And 2 weeks ago, the president says he's going to start importing Argentina beef, and the market plummets for 2 weeks in a row. In addition to feeding the cows, we've had a good year. The corn and soy are down. The president goes to China. We're going to work out a trade deal, which is great, and our feed prices go up. In addition, our number one export in the milk industry is Mexico and Canada. We get into a tariff war with Canada and everyone else, and our milk price plummets. So you're extremely accurate. It's highly volatile. It's up and down, and not even from year to year. It's day to day with this current political environment that we are in. I'm very pleased to see that you're recognizing the farm workers in ag, because myself, my colleague Supervisor Mendez, all of our farms, as big as they are, we couldn't do anything without our farm employees. And again, I see Manuel Cunha in the audience here, a high proponent of the farm workers and all their movements. And again, from those in ag, a lot of us in ag, and especially the younger generation, Buddy mentioned about the Sikhs and how they are adjusting to times. What we have in ag, they don't want to get involved anymore. In Buddy and I's day, we were involved in the Farm Bureau. We went to meetings. All the younger generation wants to do now, they want to farm and they want to go home. They don't want to go to the meetings at night. They don't want to go to the meetings on the weekends. They don't want to participate in the air board and all those things. And however, they don't realize if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. But because of the strong advocates that we have in Ryan Jacobson, Manuel Cunha, and everyone else, we've been able to survive. But if the younger generation doesn't realize you can't just farm and go home, you got to be involved, we're going to be in trouble. And again, we're always number one whenever we have water. And last year, 2024 was a good water year. 25 will be a marginal year, would say, Buddy. But if it doesn't rain where we can store up the water, we're going to plummet back to number 3 or number 4, because it's all dependent on how much water. Every year we have water, we're number 1 because of our diversity.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to commend you and your staff for an excellent report. I see in addition, in just the one report, we have multiple glossy reports this year. So for some other
Always
things.
trying to give you more.
Yeah, so that's good. As a person in production ag, appreciate everything you and your office does, because without your inspections and those things, we couldn't ship the almonds overseas. We couldn't even ship them to the surrounding states. So you play a vital role. Most people don't even know that, but those of us in ag know. And again, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. I do want to point out also, though, the economic report is probably something that we will try to do on more of a 5-year basis. So don't expect to see that next year. It is something that we have to contract out to do. it's somewhat expensive and probably doesn't change a lot. So something we'll look to do every 5 or so years.
You actually answered the water guy. I have to agree with him, Murray. This is a technical question. Okay. I know a lot of dairymen produce their own feed. Now, do you guys go back and just make sure they did report something on their feed? Because this is, I think my colleagues don't know. You get a deal back from your office saying, here's, state what you produced and what you thought the dollar value was. Now, how's that work have you gone back and just made sure the dairymen actually reported the feed that they grew?
Are you questioning if dairymen are honest? Or?
No, I'm
no,
just
that's
saying,
not, okay.
They actually reported, or are we missing?
I know, I'm kidding.
No, just the opposite.
No, we do actually, that is, I believe, part of our dairy survey. I'll check back here with, the staff that send these out. That is something that we ask on our dairy survey is the value of the feed that they produce and how, the tonnage and that sort of thing of the feed that they produce, and then we assign that value to that. And so we're always looking to the minor things, the almond hulls, the manure. We ask them about their manure because that's fertilizer and there's value to that.
We
And
like
so-
compost now because
I'm
compost
sorry.
is 4 times the value of manure.
Should we change that title in the crop report? I think we still.
Right,
I
but
saw
some-
it last night. It still was manure.
Make compost that.
Yeah. So yeah, we do try and capture all of those values. That way we can really show that the full value of agriculture.
Now, do you get a pretty high percentage of return, or do you have to call and bug people?
We've got to call and bug people. It depends on the commodity. Your larger commodities you don't need as many returns on because statistically you get more data. Our smaller commodities can sometimes be difficult because we don't have as many people that are growing that. And so for us to get a good statistical number, we want to make sure that we get a certain number of returns.
We were just talking about this whole deal is very fleeting because as Sigma comes in and is more and more enforced, there's going to be a lot of places in Fresno County that, they don't have surface water. And when they're held to what the, actual pumping that they could do, they're going to have to tear out a lot of permanent crops and that ground's going to stay idle. So it's a very fleeting number. And we don't, I don't want to go into explanation because it's not, everywhere, but there's certain areas in Fresno County that don't have surface water, and there's some that have a lot, and there's some that have to rely on federal water from Northern California. And I think, like Ryan said, there's a lot of coastal people that don't want us to even farm, but as long as their grocery store is full of food, they don't care. But I have never seen in my life the negative of how farmers are thinking. I know a large farming family that they still have a pretty big entity that was in their parents' name, and one of them still manages that ranch, and it's a large ranch. It's about 7,000 acre ranch, but they actually didn't plant any cotton. They always plant a little bit on the ground that they don't have garlic and tomatoes, and they didn't plant any this year. And the reason was we rather not take a chance of losing money. I mean, it's that bad. And actually, 24 was a pretty bad. It was one of the worst cotton years that I could ever remember. Not only production, the quality of the cotton going through the gins was horrible. I mean, the other day at a cooperative gin meeting, we were looking at records. We couldn't even think of a batter because you can tell on the gin output how bad the cotton is. It was the worst ever. But like I said, the psychology of the farming industry today in Fresno County, I mean, that's normally when you talk to somebody, they say, hey, you got a crop plan for 26? You know, it's like, now we're still thinking about it. It's like, well, you know, on especially on row crops, I mean, what the hell you want to lose money on now? So, I mean, this very fleeting number is very great. I want to commend you. You know, I don't think anybody here, except maybe Brian, understands the amount of information you have to compile to get this back out. It's a lot.
And to your point, I think our row crops only gained about 1% this past year. So,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of ups and downs.
Right.
So it really is a gamble. What do you plant? What might you make money on? And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But to change the atmosphere, even though Buddy's a Debbie Downer right now, this is a celebration. We're back on top. We're number one. We have great pride in what we do and who we are, and want to thank you again for putting us back on top. Yeah.
Dairymen are honest.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question to our folks, and I feel like I'm in that movie City Slickers, and we've got like Billy Crystal and John Lovitz up here trying to figure this out. And I was wondering why this report wasn't included in the agenda, and now I see it's kind of like a big unveiling.
An
It's
unveiling, yes. This is your first time.
we got to build it up, but the $9 billion figure was like just mind-boggling. And I say that as somebody that came from the city that doesn't understand ag in the sense of the farms and the fields, but I did understand it because I had a lot of processing plants in my district. When you have Fiori de Pasta, Ledestri, Riches, Corn Nuts, the Capri Sun factory, and so all of these crops end up there, which translates into the jobs amount that you mentioned, 63,000 jobs. I think we're the third largest employer
And those are direct. There's, if you read through the report, there's also indirect jobs as well that are represented there. I just didn't want to make my presentation too long and too technical.
No, and I'm going to definitely follow up with you because for me, I really do want to get a little bit more knowledge on this. I did have a question. You mentioned the question about water, and I know my colleagues that I think Supervisor Magazine, you said that we rely on them to tell us how the cow eats the cabbage. I think that's what we're doing today. But on page 4, you have the top crops. You got number 1 almonds, 2 grapes, 3 pistachios, and then the ones at the bottom where it says more crops by the handful. I don't think a lot of people know that we grow a lot of these crops here in Fresno County. Yams, cabbage, limes, potato, all of that are quantified on here, and I'm trying to understand a little bit. And then I did see that manure is actually considered a crop.
Yeah, it's a byproduct.
Byproduct.
Who eats that?
Yeah. It's organic fertilizer. Yeah.
It's in all the fruits and vegetables.
We're fed a lot of those sandwiches all the time.
Maybe next year we'll change that to more commodities, but I don't know if crop is, throwing you off there.
But this was very helpful. I do want to thank you, and I want to thank our farmers and our farm workers. I think every time we see our folks go out there and plant the seed and really go out there during the harvest time, I appreciate the work that they do every single day, whether it's 108-degree heat or cold and foggy. I think they are the backbone of our industry, and now we can proudly say that we are number 1. We're the number 1 producing county in the nation, right, according to our folks. So we should be proud of that. Last thing I'll say is I think we spend so much time here in our region wanting to diversify our economy. We want to be tech. We want to be in warehouses and distribution. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I think this here shows us that we need to be building on our strengths. Like $9 billion is not a small amount, right? We've tried other things in our region like Bidwise. That didn't work out. And I think it's because we keep trying to put a shoe on a foot that doesn't fit. But to me, this is like confirmation that we should be having more processing plants here. We should be having more of an agricultural support base for our economy, because I think the results speak for themselves. So all that to say, thank you and your team for putting this together. I will be reaching out to schedule a meeting with you to kind of go through some of this data. I'm a data junkie, but I do need time to read it. I didn't get a chance to read it till a couple of minutes ago, but thank you so much for the work that you do.
Yeah, so what you're looking at there too on page 4 is, these are all the crops that were valued at over $1 million. There's over 100 other crops that are not listed there that are produced in Fresno County, so,
But they're in the statistics.
yeah, they're
Less than $1 million.
buried in there. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for doing this. I think this isn't an action item. We're just accepting it, and we accept good news. But I'm kind of like Winston Churchill in the 30s, Hey, it ain't as shiny as you think it is.
It's not, but I do want to close with, if Fresno County wasn't feeding the world, there's not other areas that could do that.
Right.
There's a reason why, California is not the cheapest area to farm. It's not the easiest place to farm. And the reason that we're the #1 farming county in the world is because we have the resources, the ability, the climate, the soil, all of those things to be able to do that here. And, if farming were to go away in Fresno County, it's not just going to move, it's not going to move to Nebraska.
Right.
So it's what we do here and what our farmers and ranchers do here is extremely important.
Right. It's about Mediterranean climate and availability to move commodities on our roads.
So,
Thank you.
I'm really excited that eggplant shot up in value. I love eggplant. Eggplant Parmesan.
Did you see that roosters and chickens are 14% of our industry?
Yes.
We now move to item number 9, under Human Resources, approve amendment to salary resolution section 532, occupational expense remuneration as reflected on Appendix D, effective November 10th, 2025. Approve the resolution setting the salaries for the assessor, recorder, auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector, and county clerk effective for the term of office commencing on January 4th, 2027, and ending on January 5th, 2031, and adjusting the salaries for the district attorney and sheriff for the extension of their term beginning January 4th, 2027, and ending on December 31st, 2028. Approve amendment to salary resolution section 100 footnotes as reflected on Appendix D, effective January 4th, 2027, and approve amendment to the salary resolution converting the public defender flat salary to the 6-step salary range system and placing the classification within the range as reflected on Appendix D, effective January 4th, 2027.
Thank you. You can breathe now.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Hollis McGill, Director of Human Resources. Today's item includes a resolution setting the salaries for several of our elected department heads, as well as amendments to the county salary resolution to ensure consistency, equity, and compliance with the county charter. The first recommended action increases the automobile allowance for elected officials. This aligns the allowance with what's provided to other department heads and promotes internal equity. Second, the proposed resolution sets the salaries for the assessor recorder, auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector, and the county clerk for the upcoming term beginning January 4th, 2027. It also adjusts the salaries for the district attorney and sheriff through the extended term ending December 31st, 2028, per Assembly Bill 759. These adjustments maintain parity with other local counties, department heads, and include provisions for cost of living adjustments during the term, as a 3% COLA was included in the recommended salaries. The third recommended item establishes a 10% post incentive and uniform allowance for the sheriff, consistent with other executive classifications within the chain of command. Finally, this item converts the public defender from a flat salary to a standard 6-step salary range, placing the current incumbent onto step 5 to align with other appointed department heads. Overall, these actions maintain equity across leadership classifications, ensure compliance with the charter, and continue the county and your board's commitment to fair and consistent compensation practice. I'd like to take a moment to thank Sarah Krause and the EST team, Soraya Bell, for all of their hard work on this item, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I don't have a question. I just want to state, Hollis, I appreciate all the work you've done in this. I know in years past, it was practice that it's the law that we have to do this the year before the election. And what has happened because of the escalation of inflation and different things, the salaries didn't always keep pace. This year, we have a COLA adjustment, so I appreciate the work that went into that, and for county council to verifying that all this is legal, the proper way to do it, so that we don't get in the same situation again. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I want to, that's the same from me. I mean, we basically kind of mess this up by not looking forward, you know. And unfortunately, we didn't get good advice, but it wasn't from you. No other questions? I'll open it up to the public. Is there any public comment?
Morning, Chairman Mendez and Supervisors. My name is Riley Telford, President of SEIU Local 521, the Fresno County chapter, and a concerned resident of Fresno County. I respectfully urge you to vote no on the proposed salary increases of the 27.5% for the sheriff and 38.5% for the district attorney. Here's a couple of my key points in regards to that. 1, fiscal responsibility and budget constraints. Fresno County is currently facing significant budget pressures. Recent reports show that departments, including the sheriff's office and district attorney's office, have had to cut at least about 5% from their budgets due to payroll costs outpacing revenue growth. Sales tax revenues have flattened, and property tax increases are not keeping up with rising costs. Approving such large salary increases would further strain county finances and potentially lead to cuts of essential services for residents. Point 2, impact on public perception and employee morale. Approving salary increases of this magnitude sends the wrong message to county employees and taxpayers. Many county workers, including social workers, correctional officers, administrative staff, earn far less and have not seen comparable raises. Such disproportionate increases could harm morale and erode public trust in county leadership. Point 3, comparisons to other counties and incremental approaches. While competitive compensation is important, a more reasonable approach would be to provide incremental pay increases over time, aligning with industry standards in the county's financial health. Sudden large raises are not in line with best practices and could be perceived as unfair or excessive. 4, legal and policy considerations. The Fresno County Salary Resolution and related policies recommend merit-based step increases and cost of living adjustments, typically around 5% annually. The proposed increases far exceed these guidelines and could set a precedent for future salary negotiations that are unsustainable. Number 5, community needs and priorities. At a time when residents are struggling with cost of living, housing, and access to services, it is vital that county resources be allocated equitably. Large salary increases for top officials may divert funds from programs that directly benefit the community. The board and the CAO have consistently messaged fiscal restraint during economic uncertainty. As stated before, departments were required to cut budgets between 4 and 5%, resulting in layoffs and decreased salaries for frontline workers if they've had to go to other positions. Cost of living increases for frontline workers have been held to about 1% or 0, which is insufficient given rising expenses. Fresno County faces a projected $15 million budget deficit for 2025-2026.
Please finish up, Riley.
No problem, sir. I'll just go to closing comments,
Yeah.
if you will. This is not a time for excess. It is a time for shared sacrifice and fairness, and for leadership that puts the needs of many above the wants of the few. Approving these salary increases would undermine public trust, damage morale, and further strain our already fragile budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Riley. Nobody else? I'll bring it back to the board.
Just a quick question, Mr. Chair. For our HR folks and the benefit of the public, how did we arrive at these numbers, just so that folks know what the methodology was?
We looked at surrounding counties, including Sacramento, San Joaquin, Kern, Madera, King, so our local surrounding counties. We also looked for some internal equity, how they were placed with other department heads.
So we essentially did a comp study comparable to other folks. And
Correct.
That's what we usually do with our bargaining units across the board, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You got something to say, Sheriff?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I do want to thank Hollis McGill for her work on this and the board for looking at this. I do understand, the perspective of the gentleman who was up earlier, but Fresno County used to have a personnel rule that said that you would be 10% above your subordinate or something to that effect, and that has gone out the window. And currently, elected officials make less than their subordinates because of the way the charter is worded and because of the way pay has been increased, as was said. But looking around at our surrounding counties, doing a survey, in 2027, the sheriff of Madera County will earn $285,000 for a county of 165,000 people. We're a county of over 1 million. They have less than 400 people in their jail. We have 2,500 folks. So when you're talking about scope of work, you're talking about a significant increase, a significant greater responsibility here in Fresno County. And in Madera County, all elected officials get their retirement contribution paid for by the county, is zero out-of-pocket expense for them. So there are some pay out there of our neighboring counties. You look at the Fresno County Office of Education and the Fresno Superintendent of Fresno Unified, by 2027, projections put them around $400,000. And the Fresno Police Chief, on a very conservative estimate based on compensation available, will be at about $335,000, somewhere in a range of. So these are just making our county competitive to people right here in our own backyard, not looking across the state, not looking at the Bay Area and things like that. People who have similar scope of work, similar responsibilities within our county of Fresno. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll bring it back to the board.
Yeah, and I would just like to add, everything Riley said, certainly valid. But the fact is, we are righting some wrongs that have taken place in terms of how we've done budgeting and salaries for directors, people who are in leadership positions. So this is what that is all about. It is trying to correct things, and as the sheriff said, it makes no sense for a director to be making less than their subordinates. And so we've had these kinds of issues. This is an effort to correct it and to correct it for the future. And that is why I fully support this.
Go ahead.
Something comes to mind that, here in Fresno County, we have our struggles, but we are too poor to afford cheap. And since we have an analysis that was done that provides justification to these numbers based upon where we are in the Central Valley, I'll move for staff's recommendation.
There you got them. Got a motion? Anybody else want to say anything before I'll accept the second? Okay, Gary seconded. All in favor is going to say an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you all.
We now move to item number 10 under probation. Conduct first hearing to amend the County of Fresno Master Schedule of Fees, Charge and Recover Costs Ordinance by amending subsection 1815 daily rate of section 1800 probation and waive reading in its entirety and set second hearing for December 9, 2025. Designate County Council to prepare a fair and adequate summary of the ordinance and direct the clerk of the board to post and publish the required summary in accordance with Government Code Section 25124B1.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you had to wait to the end of the meeting. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Chief.
all right. I learned a lot during the meeting, so thank you. Good morning. I'm Kirk Haynes, your Chief Probation Officer for Fresno County. The item before you today is to conduct a first hearing to amend the County of Fresno Master Schedule of Fees and Charges Recovered Costs Ordinance by amending subsection 1815 daily rate. The approval of the recommended action would revise the existing master schedule of fee charges and recovered costs based on the department's costs for fiscal year 25-26. The recommended amendment to the daily rate will update the current rate to house youth from other counties at the Juvenile Justice Campus, which will allow the probation department to charge sending counties a daily rate to ensure full cost recovery for services rendered at the JJC. And that's the end of my presentation. I am available for any questions.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing none?
Second.
Okay, Gary? Yeah. Luis? All in favor, so I say an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
We now move to item number 11, Board of Supervisors Committee Reports and Comments.
You got nothing? I got nothing. You got anything?
I'll say something regarding the vote. It's been publicized over the last few days that or actually a couple of our incorporated cities didn't get a vote center. I want to, with the help of the mayor of Mendota, I want to thank our county clerk for being open and hearing our concerns and providing a last-minute training yesterday that we got to train city and county staff so that the city of Mendota will have a voting center today for in-person. I know one of my staff members is out there helping, and as of 9 o'clock this morning, we've already had 20 people in person voting that maybe wouldn't otherwise been able to vote. I'd like to thank the CAO and his staff for being willing to help in this matter, and hopefully this doesn't happen again in the future. But appreciate everyone's willingness to cooperate, last-minute training, and providing one of our incorporated cities a place to vote in person.
Okay. I know there was a lot of, I never got a complaint on it, but in the southern part of the county, except, for Huron, which is a long ways away, there really wasn't a voting center in the southern part of the county, and that, but with a special election, I mean, this was, compounding a stupid deal, because I don't know if it's not funded completely to where they could have voting centers where they need to have, or we would have in a regular election. So, there's a lot of, but I get, I did have a conversation with the mayor of Mendota too, who's a friend of mine, and, people there would either had to go to Fireball or come to Kerman to actually do that. And that is an incorporated city, But, I just want to comment on something, we got everybody's wanting to put poll watchers out there, which, it's like, what the hell are they going to do? If they're going to watch something, they want to watch the counting machines, and the actual signature, verification process, which is a heck of a lot more important. But I kind of got a kick out of when the city was, the cities has their poll watchers and their comment over what's it going to cost. And they said, oh, there's no cost. So does that mean that some of the city attorney's staff don't do anything? To me, that's like admitting, okay, they don't do anything, so, it didn't cost us nothing if they went over there. I thought that was kind of like, well, what the hell? It costs them some money somewhere, because I'm sure those people are doing something. So anyway, that's what I got. Okay, move to board.
Item 12, board
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just one comment. I want to thank Ellie Harrison in Code and the Chief Operating Officer, Ed Hill, for moving quickly to get an unsafe eyesore at Sean Palm demolished, which has been there for quite some time, just in time for Christmas Tree Lane. We appreciate your swift action and dedication to keeping the neighborhood safe and beautiful, so thank you to both of you.
Okay.
Item 12, board appointments.
Anybody, you have any, Luis? None? I have none?
No.
None. We have none. Usually this time of the year, we have none. Just kind of goes with the flow. So anyway, this is now a
Item
chance for,
13, public presentations.
yeah, public presentation.
This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the board on any matter not on this agenda.
When you didn't get up, I thought, okay, now we're going to hear from Tal again.
Good morning, Chairman, Board. I'll be brief.
No, that's all right.
Here on behalf of First Steps Recovery, it's an issue we've heard about for the last couple of meetings. We were surprised to see that it wasn't on the closed session agenda for today. We are still under red tag. We've been working with staff on the permitting issues. Our understanding is that those have been largely, if not completely, resolved. Again, still under red tag. During a meeting last week, we asked for some details about the items that would justify a red tag, which, as I understand, are those that are extreme and imminent danger to the lives or safety of the occupants of the property. We haven't received that detail. My commitment to you this morning is if provided that detail, we will jump on those items as soon as possible. We remain committed to that. I've also got, and I'll hand this to the clerk, I've got some pictures of the facility. You guys can go on the website and see the pictures as well. These are actually from yesterday. So just want to make sure there's no sort of ambiguity about our focus and the attention to the property. Everyone is still welcome to visit themselves. If you have any questions, we're an open book, and appreciate the partnership with county staff, and appreciate the continued focus from county council as well. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know.
I'll make a comment.
Go ahead.
After your last two meetings, Tal, I know Supervisor Mendez and I in our briefing, we went over that, and I can just tell you straight up from me, what you're saying and what we're being told is two different things. So you need to maybe get with our county council or whatever, but what you're saying in public is not an accurate statement, and that's the nicest I'm going to be about it. But we're getting told two separate things from what you're stating in public. So somebody's wrong.
Supervisor,
And I don't know who it is. I'm not there. But we're getting told something different than what you're stating. And I just want to be on the record for all of us. That's why it's not on the closed session, because it's my understanding they have reached out, they have given a list, and it's not being acted upon. So hopefully after today, we can get that resolved.
Agreed.
But we are getting told something completely different than what you are stating, and I will just publicly say it.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. I agree with the first half of what you said. We are not, again, there's pictures, right? So I'm not trying to, part of the reason that I've been sort of bothering you guys with this the last couple of weeks is I want there to be full transparency. I agree, some reckoning of where things stand from what's being communicated, I think, to you guys in private versus what we're seeing on the ground and our work with your staff. There's a delta there, and our hope would be to close it as soon as possible. Thank you.
At this time, you can take closed session comments, public comments for closed sessions, items 14 through 18.
Okay, is there any comments on closed session? Hearing none? County Council.
Yes, nothing to report out now. Would not expect any report out after the closed session, so we may adjourn directly from closed session.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor, so say an aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We are adjourned.